Hey guys, Sean here and welcome to the F1 Word. Now there has been a lot of talk lately about Mercedes and their long-term future in Formula 1. In fact, F1 Insider has claimed that the Silver Arrows could be set to walk away at the end of this very season and that Toto, Wolff and Lawrence Stroll will team up to buy the team. If that were to happen, it could lead to a rebrand with Aston Martin set to go further than just their Red Bull title sponsorship, should Stroll go on to secure the reported 20% of the company he's after. This, quite frankly, all sounds like utter nonsense and just reeks of the F1 off-season. You know, you've got the media putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 5. People are just absolutely desperate to have something to talk about. Last year it was Hamilton to Ferrari, and the year before it was Red Bull who were apparently set to quit. And hey, I get it, I really do. And after all, even I'm in withdrawal now and have started making content about point swaps, so I can totally sympathise. As unlikely as this all sounds though, there could well be some truth behind it, and Bernie Ecclestone, remember him, makes some good points on all of this. He is quoted in the report as saying, "Why should Mercedes continue to spend so much money on a team when they've already won everything? In terms of image, the group is completely satisfied with marketing the hybrid engines. The mere fact that Mercedes has not yet signed the new Concord agreement from 2021 onwards is strange." He also went on to add that Toto Wolff wants to be prepared if Mercedes gets out and only acts as an engine manufacturer. I suppose it does make complete and total sense that Wolff would want to be ready for any potential changes at Brackley. And you know what? I'd say he is probably best placed to take on that team and lead it should Mercedes walk away. And yes, if you need some financial support with it, then why not team up with Stroll? After all, let's face it, he isn't short of a bob or two. And again, if he buys a stake in Aston Martin, there would be a ready-made, massively marketable brand ready to go. There is also a very strong chance that Toto would only ever need to worry about filling one seat, as I'm sure Lawrence would be able to find a driver to fill the other one, but let's leave that there. So will Mercedes leave at the end of 2020? Well, no, to put it bluntly. Obviously that's just my opinion, but for starters, I can't see it happening because why walk away from the kind of success they're currently enjoying? And with the sport set to become more financially sustainable with this new cost cap, there might even be more of an incentive to stick around. There are also some very strong reports that Lewis Hamilton and Toto Wolff are both on the verge of signing new deals, allegedly a 2-year deal for Lewis, and that Mercedes are also set to commit to Formula 1 for a long time, at least that's what the report states. And I will, by the way, try to remember to pop a link in the description to all of the original articles I've used for this video. I'm going to put my business head on now. This could be very interesting, but on the financial side of things, it was revealed back in October that Mercedes, or I suppose specifically Daimler AG, have been making some pretty nice profits, although that did slow in 2018. So in 2017, their total income was £337.2 million, very nice, and rose to £338.4 million in 2018, almost as much as me there. Yeah, right, Sean. Costs did also rise though by just shy of a couple of million, and ultimately it resulted in a post-tax profit of £13.3 million. And that is more or less the same figure they posted in 2017. 19.9 million was sent back to Daimler in 2017 to cover the costs of the power unit, and in 2018, 25.3 million was returned. That meant that Daimler's net contributions were less than £40 million. The point is, although it requires significant investment, no one's denying that, there is definitely money to be made in F1 for everyone involved with Mercedes. And if they can continue their success on track in 2020, they could be looking very good again. The big question though is, and that's kind of what Bernie Ecclestone was getting at, do they want to pour a ton of money into these new regulations if effectively the only way is down? They've won the last 6 Drivers' and Constructors' Championships and could be very well placed, sorry to bum out any non-Mercedes fans, to make it 7 this year. Therefore, whichever way you look at it, they will either continue their current run of success or fall back down the order in 2021. What we must remember as well is that the law of diminishing returns doesn't just apply to the on-track performance, it also applies to the financial side of things. And at the end of the day, this decision is going to come down to money. There's no getting away from that. If they're not making enough, they'll be off, no questions asked. You would hope that if the new cost cap is policed properly, expenditure should go down, as might the prize money, it should be said as well. Obviously, that's getting restructured for next year. But if they can keep bringing in the sponsors and therefore, obviously, the cash, they will stick around. No doubt about that in my mind. The trouble is, immediately the money spent is going to go through the roof thanks to these new regulations in 2021. To give you a very rough idea, the cost of their R&D in 2017 thanks to those rule changes was over £45 million higher than in 2016. Just imagine how high that figure could be for developing the 2021 car. That really is what this all boils down to. Now, of course, there is a difference between a team and a manufacturer. It's highly likely that some of those working in Brackley were there during the Brawn era, through the Honda years, and may even go back as far as BAR and Tyrrell. The point I feel I need to make here is just because a manufacturer pulls out, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to lose a team. I know that is a concern of a lot of people. We do not want a 9-team grid. And given their run of success and how well they've worked together, you'd like to think that somebody would buy them out. I guess enter the Wolff and Stroll rumours. Thinking about it, these personnel behind the scenes, if you like, their futures could be a part of the Mercedes dilemma too. For example, with the introduction of this cost cap, it's probable that Merc will have to let staff go, as will other teams. But do they really want to do that? That's certainly something they're going to have to consider. It doesn't promote the best image, if you understand what I'm kind of trying to get at there. Something else, I was pondering this yesterday actually. I do wonder what part the new McLaren deal plays in all of this, and if you missed that, by the way, it was announced last year that McLaren are once again going to be using Mercedes power from 2021, and that runs until the end of 2024. Great news at the time, chuffed to see that name back. And although the two parties do have a very good relationship given the success they enjoyed in the past, I do suspect that Mercedes did this deal so that their involvement in the sport remained in some capacity past the end of this year, regardless of what they decide. I just don't think they want to walk away completely, if at all, and so continuing to supply teams with their power unit keeps their name in the sport, which is great from a commercial side of things, and it also enables them to keep developing and improving this turbo hybrid unit, something that will be massively important to other parts of the business, the road car side of things. They get all of those positives without the negative, if you like, of having to pay the cost of running their own team. Their involvement in Formula E, that's got to be taken into consideration too. They joined the series full-time as Mercedes-Benz EQ for Season 6, and Toto Wolff even took an F1 weekend away last year to watch over the team's first race in the season. That's a company and a man who have more than a keen eye on Formula E. It could well be that Daimler decide that there is more to be gained from Formula E in the long term than in Formula 1. After all, there is a real push now for road car manufacturers to accelerate the development of electric tech, but that is absolutely 100% a topic for another day. This, of course, is all speculation, every bit of it, and it comes from one report that has already been countered by another report. But it is well worth going over some of the reasons why they could leave, and that is only some of them, by the way. There will likely be many more. Let me know in the comment section if you've come up with any reasons why they might walk away or why they might stick around. So having gone through a few of those points there, do I think they will leave at the end of 2020 or even at all? Well, not for 2021. I'm just not sold on that one. That doesn't mean they won't. They've got a big decision to make though, but I'm not expecting them to go anywhere anytime soon. Absolutely. There have been teams who have walked away from the sport with less notice. Take Honda in 2008 as an example. They just left, that was it, and sold the team to Ross Brawn. So it's not a case that I think it's short notice or anything like that. I just get the feeling they aren't done with Formula 1 yet. That might sound mad given that they've won the last 6 drivers and constructors titles, but there is still money to be made, records to break, and they may even share Lewis Hamilton's view about being a pioneer for the new era. And if the rumours of Hamilton and Wolff being on the brink of signing new deals is true, they are clearly committed to the immediate future at the very least. After that though, it's all down to how 2021 goes. If they nail the new regulations and continue to fight for and win titles, there will be little reason for them to go anywhere. There is a case, though, for going out on top, leaving as champions, going back to that the only way is down thing I was talking about earlier. I would imagine, and as you could probably tell, I'm far from being a businessman, but I would imagine there is some commercial benefit to walking away at the top of your game rather than leaving after a few years trundling around in the midfield, for a company as big as Mercedes anyway. If, however, they totally screw up with the new regulations and they do fall into that midfield or even end up as the third best team, I can't see them sticking around for long unless they make their way back to the top very quickly. Now, there may be a few of you out there saying, well, hang on a minute, Sean, Ferrari haven't won a title for ages and they're still around in Formula 1, they're not going anywhere. But there is a huge difference between Mercedes and Ferrari. There is no denying that Mercedes are racers, and the folks at Brackley absolutely are. However, they very much look at it from a business point of view, and their road cars are, or at least appear to be to me, their main focus. Hence why they're so keen to continue to develop the tech for them in F1 and Formula E. With Ferrari though, they are a part of F1's DNA, and F1's DNA is a part of them. The road car and supercar side of things is of course massively important to the Scuderia, but I get the feeling that F1 means a hell of a lot more to them. Again, there are many teams on the grid, there are many teams that have been on the grid in the past that have got F1 heritage, racing heritage in their blood, but it's a big deal for and with Ferrari. They are very much the exception, whereas Mercedes, Renault and Honda, for example, will all come and go as they please, with the financial markets and potential gains dictating their involvement in the sport. Either way, I really do believe that 2021 is the key to all of this and of course the financial side of it as well. But I fully expect to see the silver arrows on the grid beyond the end of this coming season. And so I get the feeling these Wolff, Stroll, Aston Martin rumours are a little bit far-fetched, not impossible. And maybe it could happen should it all fall apart for Mercedes in the next few years, but not for next year. They'll still be on the grid. And they are words that could come back to bite me on the arse very quickly. Anyway, that is it for this one then, and as ever you can pop your thoughts on all of this in the comment section below, and let me know, do you think Mercedes will be leaving at the end of this season? You can also follow me over on social media, and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.